Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what knowledge might save your life one day? Don't ever stop performing CPR on a person until the EMTs take their body away. CPR doesn't wake up a person, it's to force blood to their brain to prevent brain death so that the EMTs can revive that person. Edit, thank you for the gold, kind strangers. And find a CPR buddy to switch with regularly. Even if they don't know CPR, coach them throughout it, but if at all possible don't do it alone. Why? Because it is super taxing and your arms will get tired and hurt really fast. And as said, you can't stop. To add to this, you need to use a lot of force, you will probably break their ribs. Don't stop, living is more important than one or more broken ribs. Polar bears have insane ADHD. If one is chasing you, intermittently drop clothing items like a hat or gloves. It will stop to sniff them. Normal prey animals don't shed whole pieces of themselves, the bear will be perplexed. Saw on Reddit somewhere else. If it's brown, lie down. If it's black, fight back. Edited, thanks you /Thorscope. If it's white, good night. Seriously, brother-in-law was up in the Arctic. They are scary creatures from the minute they see you, out in the open, they see you as meat. Edit. My first silver. Thank you, Bigley. Brother-in-law was cameraman with CBC. He got out of there a few years ago with all his clothes. My first gold. Thank you, kind and handsome stranger. I promise to use my powers for good. Black is fight back. It's not recommended to start attacking a bear under really any circumstances. The human version of the gecko tail trick, very clever. Except your hat doesn't grow back, /. If you sweat you die. Because the sweat will freeze in your clothing, which will induce hypothermia much faster. And since you can't get them dry, you're basically fucked. I mean, it's either you last naked and exposed and get hypothermia, or the iced clothes rapidly kill you. Get naked or die. Okay, got it. If someone threatens you with a gun or something and they want to move you to another location, your chance of dying goes up considerably if you agree to relocate. My father was an assistant who worked with homicide. He gave me this advice over and over. Years later, someone climbed in my car and threatens me with a gun. Told me to drive. And I said number. I took the keys out and threw them. It wasn't a conscious decision. My dad had just hammered his advice, never get taken to another location, in so hard that it switched on. The guy gets out without saying a word and runs. Edit, let's be clear, what I did was very stupid. While you should never allow yourself to be relocated, aggravating an armed assailant rarely goes well. Throwing my keys was a very risky move. My dad also taught me to hand over valuables first. I was very lucky the guy didn't kill me. Criminals who commit reckless crimes like this are rarely rational, and many end up in jail over shooting someone over nothing. They don't always act in their own self-interests. Drugs are also often involved. I should have handed over my wallet and keys, not throw them, and then try to escape. After telling my dad what happened, he was angrier than I've ever seen him, because he's seen people get killed for throwing keys. Never agree to be taken to another location, and never try to agitate your attacker. Give him your wallet and keys, and refuse to go along. You must drive a big-ass car to carry those big-ass balls. You've got to throw 'em off their rhythm. Street smarts. A friend was carjacked. Guy told her to start driving, so she did, right into a cement pillar. Airbag hit the jacker and broke his arm. She ran into the store while he was disoriented. Kept hitting lock button on her key fob to keep him in the car until the cops showed up. Gun wasn't even loaded. Insurance elected to raise on her because of the accident, though, so that may not be the best way to handle it. Insurance can go get fucked. I'd drop the company and gladly pay more elsewhere if it meant I saved my life. Kept hitting lock button on her key fob to keep him in the car until the cops showed up. This painted a hilarious picture in my head. I work in law enforcement. If someone is forcing you into their vehicle, fight for your life and make as much noise as possible. Consider it a death sentence. Fight. Fight like you're the third monkey on the ramp to Noah's Ark, and it just started raining. Yo. Thank you for the silver. My first ever. If you call 911, always say where the problem is first, followed by the problem. If you happen to get cut off before you can say what the problem is, at least the dispatcher has a location to send an officer to check it out and advise if more police or fire is needed. Example. Operator, 911, where is your emergency? You, help, I am being stabbed. Versus. Operator, 911, where is your emergency? You, 742 Evergreen Terrace, help, I am. Location, location, location. Sideshow Bob can stab faster than you can explain, makes sense. Firefighter training. If there is a fire, crawl out of the building. Do not stand up to run. 1 or 2 breaths of smoke are enough to do major damage and require hospitalizatio, if you get out at all. It may be warm where you are crawling, but standing up can cook your skin and your lungs. The smoke at eye level can be more than 600 degrees Celsius, 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. If you can't see and don't know the room layout, crawl with your feet forward/legs in front of you, sliding on your ass. Do not crawl face first, or you may take a dive down a staircase in the confusion. This reminds me, if you're caught in a river, while tubing, rafting, etc. You may be tempted to doggy paddle or swim to save energy. But you want to turn your body as best you can to float on your back, so your feet are in the direction of the downstream current, in a passive way. Remember, nose and toes equals face up, toes up. Your feet, loose legs, do not lock your knees, will take the impact of any submerged rocks, etc. And you can push away from them rather than getting a head or chest injury. Yes, lakes count. Edit. People have been asking a lot of good questions. The key to a lot of this advice assumes you are wearing a life jacket or personal flotatio device, PFD, which are not the same thing. Helmets are highly recommended if you're going on any kind of whitewater trip, even if it is only a beginner and forward/or supervised trip. The closer you are to the edge of a river, the slower the river, but also the more shallow the water. FYI. Rapids are grouped into an international scale of rapid classes, https://www.americorheightwater.org/content/wiki/IV or 1 to 5. 1 is barely there. 2 is mild. 3 can be very scary if you don't know the area or equipment well. Class 4V, 4+, are very dangerous. Everyone, but especially those worried about floating on your back. Make sure you always wear a life jacket or PFD, personal flotatio device, when near water deeper than ankle depth. Lazy rivers, lakes, floating water in a tube, /canoe, /houseboat all count. Consider purchasing your own PFD, link below, if you have the financial or OCD means and expect to be near water anytime soon. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but get your dog a vest, too, in case they panic near water. April 2019, 5 examples of PFD canoe /rafting /kayak life vests for $40 to $150. If you find yourself in a situation where you're going out near water, static or moving water, and there aren't enough safety vests, do not accept the invitation. Do not fall for the peer pressure. Leave. Boat accidents on boring lakes due to drinking or crashing are real and frequent in the outdoor community. You might unexpectedly get tossed because a stranger is drunk and hits your boat. If you're out near any kind of moving water doing something that seems innocent, there could be a change in the environment that causes a sudden change in the current. Think, fishing still wear a PFD. A lot of areas in the middle of nowhere may give you a citation if you're near water without protection. Honestly, life jackets and PFDs are relatively cheap, especially relative to a hospital bill or funeral bill, so if you use it a few times or can afford to bring one with you somewhere, even if someone says they will provide them, please do. You could always use your own vest if someone needs the loaner. I have 3 extra life jackets that I picked up at a sale, to make sure I could always convince friend S to join me on an adventure, without having to buy anything new, and they have come in helpful on multiple occasions where someone forgets a life jacket and claims they will go without like hell you will. I am not going on a trip where I am not sure that everyone has safety gear, or I will not have as much fun. I am grateful my top comment in 10Y was for something important. This is advisable usually only for whitewater scenarios. A side stroke is usually the most energy efficient method of swimming for a rescue if there's no danger of underwater hazards. I remember reading in a Reddit post similar to this, that if you can't do a pull-up you probably won't have the strength to pull yourself up off a ledge, and that has stuck with me ever since. In theory it's very true. But I would guess most people could if some serious adrenaline is involved. Have you seen most people? Yesterday someone posted a live e-leak video of those people who parkour on high-rise buildings falling to their deaths. I'd watch it, but I watched some of them. Some of those people would do like 3 pull-ups before losing their grip. So it seems like if you can't do a pull-up where you pull yourself up to your waist, you may still be fucked. Those people really should have learned muscle-ups first. It's basically the form you should have for pulling yourself up off a ledge. It's one of the most essential basics taught in parkour.